Welcome to Codex, History of Video Games. My name's Tyler Osby.
And I'm Mike Coletta. That was really hard to dance that way while you're doing it. You know what I mean?
And this week we're dancing like Elaine in Seinfeld.
Mhm.
That's what we're going to do this whole time, actually. It's just
I like to
Elaine
think
dancing.
we're always dancing with the stars. That's what we're doing.
That's true.
That's how
We
I
are
feel.
always dancing with the stars.
So we have a different episode this week. Because this was an audience suggestion. This was a listener suggestion, not audience
Mhm.
suggestion. You could tell I hosted an improv troupe for 4 years. Okay. This is a listener suggestion. And I believe it was Mo, but I could be wrong. So Mo, if this wasn't you, I'm sorry for giving you.
You're getting all the credit.
You're getting stolen valor right now, Mo. Okay. But the what they want us to do is do our kind of like our tier lists and our drafts, right? But they want us to have separate lists. So what I've decided, I'm calling this Mike and Tyler Racing Game Showdown. So you and I have each separately picked our top 5 racing games.
Yes.
Specifically, though, ones we've had to play. That's one of the rules. And it was most likely from our childhood, realistically. If it's like
I'm not really a racing game fan these days, so
yeah,
not...
and I was a racing game fan as a kid, and I haven't really played a lot of racing games recently. So if you're like thinking, "Oh, this is your top 5 racing games of all time," this is weird. It's not. That's not what this list is at all. This list is our childhood.
Well, it
games.
is. It's just recent times in the last 15 years. I have not spent enough time with any racing games to put them on any sort of tier list.
I like to think I have some bangers on here too. You know what I mean?
I am sure you do.
Good ones. So
what if our lists are exactly the same?
That would make me so happy, and it would make the audience so mad. I think.
I think they'd be pretty happy. I think they'd be happy if we had an
nice,
exact list.
That would be nice. Okay.
I don't think it's going to be though. I don't think we will.
So this is like kind of our like it's not in any order, but I am saving my favorite for last.
I'll do the same.
Okay. So do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Let me pull up my notes app here because I didn't put it in our shared document because I didn't want spoilers for you.
No, we didn't want, and I didn't put mine in our shared document either because I didn't want you to know exactly what I was doing at all. So there's nothing going on here.
I can go first. I think this is one we might both be able to talk about. So these first 4 are in no particular order. I will give you just the first one on my list. Cruising World.
Wow. I'm upset. I don't have any cruising games on this list. You just got me so good. I was a Cruising USA guy. That was the game that I had. I played Cruising World in arcades. Did you play Cruising World?
I had the home console version of Cruising World. I played it on my Nintendo 64.
64. See, I had Cruising USA for N64.
Yeah, that one was cool because it had. Well, I don't know about the USA one. I played a little bit of that, but not enough to know about secrets and stuff. But I know there's a bunch of secrets in Cruising World of secret shortcuts, and then of course unlocking secret cars was really cool. I never did get the school bus. You had to finish like the Egypt level in like under a minute or something. You had to do a lap or something in under a minute. It was insane, and I never got it. And I never got the fastest cars like the Speed Demon or something.
Yeah, the Cruising USA, the secret cars were locked behind C button cheat codes. So you had to like push all the C buttons down at the same time on the vehicle select screen. And the secret, like the cop car, school bus, like the secret vehicles would pop up. You didn't actually have to like unlock them in any way, as far as I knew. Like you could just use that cheat code, and that was how you did it.
Okay. Yeah. The Speed Demon in Cruising World, you must finish gaining all of the points in the game's champion mode. I'm not sure. I think we might have got that one as kids. Me and my little brother and my neighbors. We might have got that one.
I believe in you.
We never got the school bus. We got a few of the other ones, though, but we tried really hard for getting those.
That's a good one, though.
And then you get to race on the moon.
Dude, I'm so bummed I didn't pick a cruising game on my list. And also, I don't own Cruising World yet for my N64 collection. So that might be on the list of things to pick up here pretty soon.
You got to get it. I think it's an upgrade over Cruising USA. Although Cruising USA, when you end, you do get to hang out in the hot tub with Bill Clinton.
That is funny. That is true. You do get to do that. That's a really strong opening pick, Tyler.
Thanks. Yeah, that was a big racing game in my childhood that I think it's not unheard of, but I think it's less common in the racing game canon.
Nice. Okay. I have my first pick here of like favorite games from my childhood. And it's one of the first games that I bought independently of my brother. That was like, I think I bought this game as like a racing game for me, which is pretty rare because my brother was really into racing games, and you're going to see that as we like go through these picks and stuff. But my the fifth pick, like the lowest pick, if we're doing it that way, is Need for Speed Underground. And I can't remember if I had it on PS2 or Xbox. I'm pretty sure I had it on Xbox. Now,
Okay. I'm pulling it up right now, pulling up the wiki so I can.
two very specific reasons. Reason number one, it had a banging soundtrack. It was
Oh,
so good.
games in the early 2000s all did.
It was all
And it's
little.
because music was better then.
It was Little John and the East Side Boys. That was like the opening
What?
song that would play. Yeah, it was crazy because it was like crazy
Yeah.
licensed music. You can even, if you look up on Wikipedia this game, there is a whole section on the soundtrack because it had like a
Okay.
bunch of like really, really good music that they got licensing deals for to put in this game. The second reason I love Need for Speed Underground is there is a drifting mode where you get points for drifting and like on these courses that are all bendy and windy. And then there's also a drag racing mode that's all about like timing your shifting. It's like really cool. It's like, it's not, I mean, it's not by any means a driving simulator, but it just felt really fun as a kid.
Mhm.
And that's why I love Need for Speed Underground.
The Need for Speed games all hit this like very good balance between simulation and arcade because
Mm-hmm.
they look realistic. They give you a lot of options for tuning your car, even if those options are not necessarily realistic. They kind of feel realistic. It's like a arcade realism that's like really fun because it's not Mario Kart, right? It's not just like this is totally off the wall. It's real cars with like tuning that is like sort of abstracted away from how you would actually do it in real life. So it's not a simulator, but
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know. It's just a really cool balance. It makes you feel like you're really racing while actually having fun because sometimes simulation games are not fun.
agreed. Agreed. It is great. I have really like fond memories of this game. And I think my brother, I think I did buy this for PS2, but it was like, and my brother owned the PS2, but we like shared it, you know? And I think he got rid of this game, which is unfortunate because I want to
Yeah.
buy it now on Xbox. It was so
Yeah.
fun.
Do they redo Underground? No, I think Underground is one they haven't done. They've done like Hot Pursuit and
Mm-hmm.
a couple others they like redid. I'm looking at the soundtrack now. I'm like, oh, you got Get Low.
Get Low was
Uh,
the big one. Yeah.
yeah. Wow.
No, it's so good. This game is just I have a very like distinct visual memory of me sitting in our like upstairs game room where we had our TV and all our video game consoles, like listening to Lil Jon while drifting. And it was just a great because this
Yeah.
was like also height of Fast and Furious times. Like this
Oh
is
yeah.
big time. And I would say there was a period in the early 2000s where Fast and the Furious was like a big I'm a young boy movie,
Mhm.
you know, and you're
Street
just
racing
super
had
into
a
it.
moment in
It
like
did
the
have a big moment.
2001 to 2004
Hmm. Where it
uh
was all about
window.
family, you know?
Family, the
Yeah.
movies. Oh, I got Jamiroquai in this show, or in this
Oh,
show, in this game. Crystal Method is like, I feel like Crystal Method is just in every video game.
they
50
are in
Cent.
every yeah, there are in
Mm.
every video game, and then they just fell off the face of the planet, I feel like. I
I
haven't
feel like
heard
they
of
still,
they still make music? I hope so. But yeah,
uh,
this game to me, Need for Speed Underground for like PS2 or Xbox is like one of the definitive racing games of my childhood. And I'm a big fan. I'm also going to pull out another kind of deep cut for my next pick.
okay.
I'm curious if you've even heard of this one, but it had a moment. It had a
They
moment.
had a moment.
And it's
Okay.
made by a famous developer and publisher. So pretty excited. Little
Okay.
hints. But I
All
want to
right.
know what your next game is.
My next game, uh, I'm gonna go with Project Gotham Racing 2.
Ooh, that's a good one. Those are good games.
Those are great. 2 specifically, I think that's the one that came with the Xbox Live Arcade stuff for the original
Mm-hmm.
Xbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like that's kind of a bonus, and not really the point here. But I think it like Need for Speed, it was very arcadey, but simulation too. I think it probably went a little bit more on the simulation side, but not very much.
No, and I remember playing it with friends. Like I remember friends owning this game and playing it at their house, but I never really played it myself.
Yeah,
So I never owned it myself, but I do distinct memories of Project Gotham Racing 1 and 2 and it being a good racing game.
yeah. I played a lot of the second one because shortly after I got my first Xbox, which was actually after the 360 came out, so it was really, really late, obviously in the life cycle of that. I got my original Xbox, and then tons of games that were only a couple of years old were on sale at like GameStop because they were kind of trying to clear out, or they just it was in that in between era where these games aren't classics, but they're like not new, so they're not really worth very much. So I picked up a whole bunch of original Xbox games for like just a few bucks each at GameStop, and Project Gotham 2 was in there. and it was cool because it went online. You could race online. You could you had leaderboards against your friends online, and then the Xbox Live Arcade stuff was also neat. But I really liked the blend again of simulation and arcade. I had a really good time with that game, and I don't think it was just like the right game at the right time. I don't think before that game I would have loved this style of game, or after it, I still don't come back to it. I just have really fond memories of like, man, I just got a bunch of cheap games for Xbox. I'm going through these games. Not all of them are great, but this one sort of like surprisingly caught me, and I really enjoyed it. I had a lot
Oh,
of fun with it.
nice. I love that. Yeah. See, I love games like this that are just like, oh, like I don't know if they were necessarily like huge, but they were popular at that time period when
Yeah,
people played them. Like I bet you a lot of people played Project Gotham Racing too, for
yeah.
sure.
And I had hoped that there was some sort of Batman tie-in. I think that these games have nothing to do with Batman.
Nothing to do with Batman. They just
Nothing
fixed
to do at all.
Gotham.
Is Gotham City not like trademarked
Well,
or something?
Gotham, I think, as a term, I
Oh,
mean, and I could be speaking out of term here, or maybe that's Arkham. There's a lot of Lovecraftian language going on there, and I feel like Arkham is definitely an HP Lovecraft thing. I'm not sure if Gotham is an HP Lovecraft thing or not, but I don't know like the any etymologists in the
yeah,
audience,
in the chat,
word
etymologist
people,
in the chat.
but I. I don't know because I know Arkham is like an HP Lovecraft thing. I think Gotham might be too.
Let's look up Gotham in dictionary.com. Gotham definition: a journalistic nickname for New York City,
Oh,
or an English village proverbial for the foolishness of its
so
inhabitants.
it's probably a New York reference then.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then it would make sense why Batman would choose to call their city Gotham City, because it's like this is not New York, but like come on,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. I'm
But
pretty
we all
sure
know it is.
Arkham has HP Lovecraft.
It's like Superman. What they call his city Metropolis, and you're like,
Oh
"Hmm,
yeah, Arkham is a fictional city situated in Massachusetts, you know, as an integral part of the Lovecraft country setting created by HP Lovecraft.
okay,
So, and then they just pulled Arkham Asylum from that because it's like madness, you know. Yeah, everyone
sure."
loves that kind of
There's a lot
connectivity.
of Lovecraftian stuff in Batman.
Oh, there
Also,
is.
a game that as I go through the Wikipedia for Project Gotham Racing, there's like a predecessor game on the Dreamcast that is Metropolis Street Racer. So you got
Ooh.
Metropolis into Gotham. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
They know what's going on. They know what they're doing. Okay, so you ready for my second pick? This is the one that's like I feel like this has kind of become a sleeper series that gave they kind of stopped making these.
Hmm.
Midnight Club Street Racing for
Ooh,
PlayStation 2
uh
or
huh.
PlayStation 1, excuse me, PlayStation 1. This or wait,
No, I think they
no,
were all PS2
it
games.
was PS2. It was PS2. I had it wrong. Yeah, it was PS2. That's correct. My notes
So
were
you're
wrong.
talking about the
PS2.
first one though.
The first one called Midnight Club Street Racing. That's what the name of it is. And it's the first game that came out. And this is going back to that Fast and Furious time. This is the one where it had a career mode where you had an open city to explore. And then you would pick up street races and you'd race in the streets and then just drive around the city afterward. And it was like super fun. You could just explore around or like jump into races or just cruise around the city. It felt really cool. Again, really pushing towards an audience of like people that can't drive cars yet and giving them the idea of car culture.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like what we're getting to, I
You,
think.
they can't drive cars yet, but you want them to know what kind of car they want when they can drive one.
Yes, exactly. And so I just remember playing this game a lot with my brother. I spent a lot of time watching my brother play this game too.
Yeah.
So, but they also had a cool like multiplayer mode where you could just face off against someone like a friend and it felt really good. And like they had these like, yeah, I just was looking at screenshots of it right now and they have the arrows to guide you above it because you can't really tell where you're going. So it was like really
Yeah,
old
because it's
school.
street racing, that like the track is defined, but like it's not. You can't really tell what it is.
Hmm.
That sort of defeats the purpose of street racing, right?
Yeah, it
Did it
was
take
really
place
cool.
in a real city, or was it a fictionalized city? Or
So it was New York City and then London. So it
oh,
was
okay, so
two
two.
separate
Okay,
cities that you could go between. And I really, yeah. So this is the Wikipedia poll for the plot. You ready? A mysterious group of urban street racers known as the Midnight Club race for pride, power, and glory in sleekly customized enhanced sport cars.
let's go.
Yeah. So it really, this didn't have. It was kind of a way to get around also the parent that wouldn't let you play GTA, but you still wanted to have an open world card game. That's what this
Yeah,
was.
because you're like it's a racing game.
You're committing crimes. Don't get me wrong. Street racing's illegal. All right.
Hmm.
But now you get to do it without hurting anybody. So
Yeah, What's the
Zero.
and it's probably in a teen rated game or maybe
Oh
even
yeah,
E for
it
everyone,
might
right?
even be E for everyone. I feel like it should be E for everyone. There's no
It's
swears in it.
if it's teen, it's probably for the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, depending on what demographic they were going for, the teen rating is better than an E rating
Yeah,
for
that's
any
true.
reason at all, because it's like, oh, this game is not for kids.
Also, though, this is also a Rockstar game,
That's true. They
which is
published it.
something that I want to like really push because Rockstar was a big part of it. And so,
Yeah.
who doesn't love
I,
a Rockstar?
I had a friend who had a PSP that we would play on the bus riding into school in the morning. And I thought the PSP was so cool because it felt basically like having a PS2 in your pocket. And
Mm-hmm.
he had Midnight Club 2 for PSP, and it looked like a PS2 game. And I was like,
Nice.
this game is blowing my mind right now with how good the graphics are. So I played a bit of the PSP version of it just because of how good it looked and how cool it was. I
That's
think it was Midnight
awesome.
Club 2. It might have been Midnight Club 3. Whichever one got I think it was Midnight Club 3 got the PSP release.
Nice, dude. Yeah, no, they're
Dub
really
edition.
it's really cool. I love Midnight Club. It's like the first one has a special place in my heart. So that was my second pick.
Okay, where's Midnight Club 2? Is that Los Angeles?
Mm-hmm.
Should play that one.
Did you ever play the
Okay.
Driver games?
Yes.
Big fan of Driver.
Had the
This
first
guy.
one, or neighbor had the first one. I played that, loved it. Picked up the second one because it was basically GTA 3, but rated teen and also for a PlayStation 1 when I didn't have a PlayStation 2. So I spent some time playing Driver 2 trying to convince myself that it was just as good as GTA 3. It's
My
not.
brother liked GTA. My brother played Driver more than GTA at first because he was so into cars. Like he
Mm,
was like because Driver was more of a car focused game than GTA was.
yes.
But then as you get older, you're like, okay, GTA is fun because you could just shoot a rocket launcher and blow stuff up, and it's really
Yeah.
neat. You know, the
And
sandbox aspect of it.
I don't think you could get out of the car in the first Driver game.
No, you couldn't. The
And
second Driver game, it was like first person when you got out
it
too. Like
was third person, but
it
you couldn't.
was.
There was nothing to do but get into other cars. You
You
couldn't
just
like,
steal cars. That's all you do.
yeah, because you couldn't even run people over. They would dodge. They would dive out of the way.
Yeah, I didn't count that as a racing game, so I didn't put it on
Yeah,
my list.
I wouldn't count it as a racing game either. Although it's a very driving focused mission games like with racing aspects. I don't think I'd call it a racing game. Yeah.
All
I
right.
also loved in Driver the felony system where it was like the wanted system in GTA, but
Mm-hmm.
the cops would just ram you until your car blew up.
Yeah,
They wouldn't
exactly.
they wouldn't like get out of the car
You're
and arrest
never
you.
under arrest. You're just gonna get it. You're gonna die in an inferno. That's how it's gonna
Yeah,
work.
yeah. They just ran. You're like, oh, you ran a red light. Guess what? We're gonna destroy 5 cop cars, destroying your car now.
Worth it.
Yep.
All right. Your third game on your list.
My third game. This one's a little bit of a curveball.
Your curveball right now?
This is my curveball a little bit. I'm gonna throw this out there. 1080 snowboarding. That's a racing game. It has trick attack modes, but I believe that when you play the campaign, it's not called a campaign, whatever the single player thing is. It's a racing game. From the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill.
I'm only mad because I didn't think of it. I'm
Yeah.
only mad because that means I could put Snowboard Kids on this list, and
I
did
thought
not
about
do
that
it.
while I was putting
didn't.
1080 down. I was like, I
didn't
could put Snowboard Kids down.
I did not put Snowboard Kids on this list, and I'm so angry. I was so focused on things with engines that I didn't pick that. That's a great pick, Tyler.
Yeah,
That's a
1080 is
great
great. The tricks were so unintuitive on how to do
Oh,
them.
they're so
They make no
floaty,
sense.
right? They were like
Yeah.
really floaty feeling. I just remember you could have the panda head guy. That was
Yes.
like the
And he
big.
could do front flips.
He could do
backflips.
front flips. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was cool. 1080
trick-
is a great game. Also, when you
Yeah.
boot it up, it's like 1080.
Yeah, and then got that sweet soundtrack.
Mhm.
Dang.
I'm just mad I didn't think about it. That's all it is.
I didn't spend a lot of time with the sequel 1080 Avalanche on GameCube.
Mhm.
I think it had passed me by that time. The other interesting thing about 1080 is it's a lot of the same characters from Wave Race. From the
Really?
original Wave Race on Game Boy back in the day. Actually, I don't know if that game has characters in it or not.
So,
But
like
then
in
there's
the
Wave Race
winter
64.
time, they go to the mountain.
That's right. Yeah,
Wow,
that
we're
was
really
like
getting the story going here.
that was kind of I think the idea there was like, yeah, during the summer we're racing jet skis, and in the winter we're racing snowboards.
Do you guys have jobs? Nope.
Nope,
No jobs.
no jobs. Nobody in this world has
world,
jobs.
In this world, nobody has jobs. They just like to be extreme all year round.
Their job is jet ski. Their job is snowboard.
My job is extreme, being extreme.
My
More
job is
extreme.
tables.
That's a great pick, dude. I'm really like now I'm looking at my list like I think I goofed. I think I royally goofed. But my next pick is kind of an assumed game series that's going to be on here. I'm just torn between which game I want to pick.
Hmm.
So
I can help you
I
narrow it down if you want to just name the series.
I wrote down Mario Kart 64,
Okay.
but I'm realizing that Double Dash to me is the superior game. You know what I
Uh,
mean? I
y-
consider Double Dash the better game than 64. But I wrote Mario Kart 64 because that's what I had as a kid. And I spent hours and hours and hours playing Mario Kart 64.
yeah.
So I'm going to leave it as Mario Kart 64. I'm not going to take Double Dash, even though I want to, because I didn't own Double Dash either. I played
Hmm.
Double Dash famously in the green room of our theater department. We talk about this many times, and it completely ruined our theater production because we were all playing Double Dash instead of doing work. To the point where the professor's like, "You have to take that out of here. You
You
guys cannot
gotta
play Double Dash anymore.
this GameCube's gotta go.
This game is destroying our department." But yeah, I think Mario Kart 64. It's just such an improvement on the Super Nintendo version.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you have the battle mode with like Block Fortress and Big Donut and like Double Decker, like all the fun classic levels in there. It just feels really good. And now, I mean, it hasn't really aged very well. You can kind of see the sprite in the
Hmm.
3D world kind of style, but it's got a special place in my heart. And I know it's probably not considered a racing game to some people because, I mean, you're racing, but it's like, it's got Mario Kart mechanics. People
So
don't like.
still racing.
Okay, good, good, because that's how I thought too. But I
Yeah.
just
Yeah. I
feel
mean,
like this.
it's fine if you don't like it. If you want to say you prefer another style of racing game, that's fine. But to try to sit here and tell me Mario Kart's not a racing game, then what is it?
Then yeah, what is it? It's a cart game. Oh no, it's the same thing.
What do you do in kart games?
You throw shells at each other, as always, while racing.
Race while racing. Oh, the goal is always to finish it in first, except in battle mode.
That's true. I just feel like to some people there's gonna be some glaring misses not on this list that
Yeah.
I think people are gonna get upset with us about. And if you get upset, email us because we love you know what the internet loves? Engagement. And that includes the angry kind. So send that to us, please.
Yep. And
Please
in
do that.
fact, it especially includes the angry kind.
It really likes the angry kind. So yeah, Mario Kart 64 is my second pick. I would always play as Mario. Looking back on it, I think I should have played as more of like a DK or a Bowser because they were technically the fastest characters in the game, but
Mm. I always
still
played
really
as
fun.
Yoshi or Toad.
Yeah, Toad
I
was good
liked
because
the
he
light.
accelerated really fast.
Yeah,
Toad
that's
would
what I liked was the fast acceleration
you can
because
come
I was
back
like, I can get off the finish or the starting line quickly, and then I can rely on my skill to with the items
to win the day.
to win the day. Yeah. So I spent a lot of time with Mario Kart 64 growing up as well. I spent a lot of time on Double Dash. That one, I think I would still hand it over to Mario Kart 64. But Double Dash, I had a lot of fun with my brother because you can play that in co-op where one person is like in charge of the items and the other person is in charge of the actual racing. And so we had a split there, and I think we had a pretty good strategy for winning everything in that game. So we had a lot of fun playing that. But I think I still give it to Mario Kart 64 a little bit,
Nice. Yeah,
just
dude.
because Mario Kart 64 was revolutionary. Super Mario Kart, neat. Mario Kart 64, like nailed it.
Nailed it. Nailed the formula and made it for all the future Mario Karts.
Yeah.
So that was my third pick. What is your fourth pick?
My fourth pick before my number one is going to be Burnout 3,
Ooh, Burnout.
which I believe is Point of Impact. Burnout 3.
Dude,
Takedown. Sorry.
you're pulling out some like racing game dynasties that I had forgotten about because these were like big in the 2010s. Burnout
Yeah.
was pretty big. I remember Burnout Paradise being a big game.
Yes. And Burnout 3, I think, is the peak of the series. Burnout 2 is also great, but I think Burnout 3 is the peak of the series. And this is a game that is like, it's about the crashes, which is what we were all doing in these racing
Yeah.
games. When we weren't try harding at the actual racing, it was about trying to do sweet crashes. And Burnout 3 knew that's what people wanted to do. And they made the whole game about sweet crashes.
Didn't they have the thing where it would add up the total damage amount of cost and cash to your car? Oh, that was
Yep.
such a genius move. Everyone loved it.
Yeah. And it really rewarded, especially in the racing bits, the bits that were more focused on the racing, it rewarded like strategic sort of hitting other cars in a way that didn't slow you down, but slowed them down or caused damage so that you would get more money for doing damage. But like trying to find that line between doing damage, but also like trying to finish in a high position was really fun because we were like trying to crash, but not, you don't want to crash too hard, you know.
You
That
want
was
to
cool. And then
crash
they had the
just right.
that's right. And then they had the crash modes, which were just about crashing, where you just like you get like 10 seconds down a straightaway to get as much speed as you could, and it was like hit this ramp right and then start just causing mayhem. And you could like control the way the car would go because it would go in slow motion. You could like control the way that it like, you know, when little explosions would happen, you could like kind of fling yourself around the map and like try to hit things strategically during the crash, which was really, really fun.
Yeah, that is so fun. That's a great pick. That's a
Yeah.
fantastic pick.
Burnout Paradise is good too because of the open world aspect. That's probably like technically the best one, but I think Burnout 3 really nailed the feeling. And kind of by the time Paradise came out, it was like, I
It
think we
was
were kind of
over.
over it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. I noticed that as like a pattern with these kind of games is you're like, okay, the fad's kind of over.
Yeah.
And
And the
so
last one is usually the best one, but it didn't come out at the right time. So people don't think about it. They think about Burnout 3
that's right. That's right.
or 2.
Yeah. Where to?
2's
That was
great.
a good pick though. Good pick. Okay. My second pick, second to last pick, my fourth pick. And it's big for a very specific reason to me. And I feel like racing game fans will appreciate this. Gran Turismo 3 is my second to last pick because I had this as a kid. It was my brother's game. And I've talked about this before. My brother had the Logitech wheel and the pedals. And
Mm,
I was probably like 13 or 14. And so this is what me and my brother would go back and forth doing the licensing challenges with the wheel. And it felt like you were taking a driver's test at home. And so it was
yeah.
very much like that core memory of that is what makes this game for me. Gran Turismo in general, stellar series. Like I know like right now, I don't know how it lines up with like the Forza versus Gran Turismo because that's kind of the thing right now, right?
Digital Foundry did an episode on Gran Turismo versus Forza. Theirs is more of a technical dive of like which
Mm-hmm.
one has the better graphics or maybe even better simulation. I haven't actually watched their video. I just know that they talk about it a lot because I think making that video like just ruined these games for the guy who made the videos because he's like, I spent so much time staring at Forza and uh, uh, Gran Turismo that I'm just sick of it. But there is a video out there that sort of compares them, at least the more recent iterations of them.
Yeah, because I think this was pre-Forza, or Forza was just coming out at this time. Because Forza was
Yeah.
Xbox's version of Gran Turismo,
Y-
essentially.
Yeah, I want to say the first Forza game was like 2004, maybe 3. And so it would have been around the time of, I think it was around the time of Gran Turismo 4.
Yeah, and that's
Forza.
why that's the glaring miss on my list is I don't have any Forza games on here because I really didn't play Forza games until Forza Horizon 2.
Yeah.
And that's a great game. That's going to be my honorable mentions,
Oh,
but it's
2005
just
for the first Forza.
yeah, but I really loved Gran Turismo 3. I loved the wheel with it. Like it was really fun and it kind of made me realize like looking back now cuz you see a lot on like social media simulators, like people
Mm-hmm.
building their own sims and stuff, like whether that's truckers or I think I see it all the time on like TikTok. There's these guys that have like trucker cab sims and they're like driving along a cliff, and it's like
Yeah.
really dicey and they have to like try to get around the cliff, or people that are like doing farm simulator stuff. This was like my only experience with that as a kid was like this wheel and Gran Turismo 3 and I loved it. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to put that on there because that's my one of my favorite games. But my number one is a doozy, I think.
Oh, well, I will briefly cover my number one because we already talked about it. It's Mario Kart 64.
Oh, so we had the same one.
We did. Yeah, that's my number one just because I've spent the most time with it. I have so many fond memories with Mario Kart 64. I can't really put anything else above it, even though I had periods of time where I really liked like Project Gotham or I played a lot of Burnout. Or even Forza. The first Forza I did play a lot of. I picked it up kind of in this around the same time period as I picked up Project Gotham because I was like, oh, I liked one racing game. Maybe I'll like another. And it was a little bit too far down the sim road for me, I think. But every now and then I'll boot up one of the newer Forzas because they're on Game Pass and I'll just be like, ooh, this game looks pretty.
Yeah, it's
Um,
fun to play Forza still. Like that's the thing about racing games. I get like the itch every once in a while. I play it for like an hour or two, and I'm like, okay, cool, that was good.
the Game Pass is perfect for that kind of stuff because you're
It
like, I don't
is.
really want to buy this game because I know I'm going to play it for like 20 minutes and then be like, okay, that was neat. But being able to download and play like Forza Horizon game, a new Forza game, and then being able to just put it down after 15 minutes and being like, okay, I'm good is really nice.
It's really cool. Yeah, I should put one on my PC because that's where I could really let it fly.
Yeah,
That'd
that's
be
a
good.
really good place to put them.
All
They're
right.
good benchmark games. So yeah,
Also,
Mario Kart 64 is my number one.
big thing about Mario Kart 64 and the reason why it should be higher on my list, and I think you're right for picking it number one, is The only video game I've centered birthday parties around.
Oh, you had a whole Mario Kart birthday
I
party.
had Mario Kart birthday party where I'm like, no, we're all hanging out at my house and we're playing Mario Kart. There wasn't like a themed cake or anything, but it's like we're playing Mario Kart for my birthday. Like that's what it is. And everyone's like, all right, well, it's his birthday. We have to play Mario Kart with him. That was what it was. It was just me entrapping people into playing Mario Kart with me as a as a child. Okay,
Perfect.
so my number one. I've talked about this game before on the podcast. I covered it
I
in
think I
an
know what it
episode.
is.
It is Star Wars Episode 1 Racer on
Oh, I was gonna
Nintendo
say Lego
64.
Racers. That would have been my
No,
guess.
Lego Racers is an honorable mention, but Star Wars Episode 1 Racer has a surprising amount of depth for this licensed game title. You have multiple pilots, you have multiple mechanic options for your pod racer to change them up. It's just a really fun game. I played this game so much, and the reason I have it as my number one is I was like obsessive over this game. As like I played it by myself for like hours because I just loved the fact that you could like tinker the pod racer and like go out on a course and try it out, and then I go back and tinker again and go back on the course, and I was super into it. And then my save got corrupted and I lost everything. But this is to me one of the best racing games I've ever played. And I loved it, especially if you were like a Star Wars nerd kid like me. Like it was just like combining two genres I loved. And also, I mean, everyone makes fun of Phantom Menace, but if you were a kid and you watched pod racing, you loved it. Don't
Pod
lie to
racing,
me.
we can
Don't,
all agree. Phantom
yeah.
Menace, not great. Pod racing, great.
Don't look at me and act like you don't like pod racing. I'm looking into my new camera right now to let everyone know how serious I am about this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone likes pod racing.
Yep.
This is pod racing. That's right.
I had rented Episode 1 Racer, and I don't remember it being that like getting into it, like having that much fun with it. But I do remember renting it and thinking it looked cool enough to rent at least.
I think it had to be about being at like a peak time in my life, which is why I'm kind of like joking about this. But really, what we're doing with these showdowns is like who had the better childhood, I guess, for racing games. Because this is like to me, one that hit me really hard was Episode 1 Racer. So I will never forget it. And I still have my copy of it. I was thinking about booting it up soon, actually, because I'm like, I should play this again because it's really fun. Also, I never played as Sebulba because he was a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I played as the character in the movie whose pod racer broke and then his droid got sucked into it at the beginning, couldn't even leave the race. Guy with the big head. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Oh,
guy.
yeah, I can't remember his name.
He had secret, really good stats. Okay, like really good stats. I think
who knows what would have happened in the movie had he
in the movie if he'd
not
have
been
raced,
sabotaged.
it wouldn't have been a Star Wars because all of them would have lost.
Yeah,
So
and it is implied to be or maybe it's very maybe it was out very forward sabotage in the movie, right?
It is sabotage. Like,
yeah, so he would have won probably if Sebulba
What's his name? I gotta look it up.
I'm assuming it was Sebulba too because he's a bad guy and he probably cheats anyway.
Sebulba cheats for sure. Okay, where's the list of racers? This is really exciting video game content right now. Me Googling stuff. List of I don't even know where it is. Yeah. Oh, also, I think you know what else would have been good on this list? Let's do honorable mentions. Do you want to do some honorable mentions?
Sure.
Because I have
a
list.
I didn't think of any honorable mentions.
Well, you could probably agree with me here because one of the honorable mentions I have that I never really played a lot of, but I think was really cool is F-Zero.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I played a lot of the
one.
Game Boy one, the launch title, F-Zero Maximum Velocity. I played a lot of that game.
Yeah, F-Zero was a really cool series. The other one I had was Lego Racers, which we talked about briefly before. I love Lego Racers. I just did an episode on it like a couple months ago, so I'm not going to get too into it. Another one I have on here, Gran Turismo 2 for PS1. It was my first Gran Turismo game. Didn't have the wheel, but it was still fun. Then San Francisco Rush 2049 for N64, because this game had a trick mode where you would put your car into like this giant area where there were these ramps and stuff, and you could actually do like Tony Hawk-esque tricks with your car. And it was like a whole separate mode where it would like be like almost like a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but with your car in this. It was weird, but it worked.
Pretty fun.
It was fun, yeah. And then the last one I have is an arcade-only game, and I talked about this actually when we talked about arcades. Hydro Thunder for an arcade is a really good arcade game. Hydro Thunder has got two it's like pod racing controls. It's got two thrusters.
Yeah, because you just control the engines, right?
Control the engines, and that's like really fun. And so I had a really good time playing that at ground control. And Portland. So those are my secret
Uh,
ones.
I
But
got I'm going through just a list of racing games to see which ones jump out at me here. I did like ATV Off Road Fury 2, which was a pack-in game for PS2 towards the end of the PS2's life cycle, which is when I got my PS2. Was towards the end of that life cycle. So ATV Off Road Fury 2 was really fun. I had a lot of fun with. Dang it, there was something else in here that I had a lot of fun with. Crash Team Racing.
oh yeah, Crash Team Racing is a good one.
Yeah, Crash Team Racing was so fun. I think just as good as Mario Kart. I think it was better than Diddy Kong Racing. It kind of was a little closer to Diddy Kong Racing with the story mode that it had, where you would like drive to the different races and it had characters and stuff. There was like kind of a story there where Mario Kart is just like, I don't know, we're all racing, try to be the best. That's the story.
Yeah, I found him, by
Um,
the way. I found my racer friend. His
oh,
name was Ben Quadinaros. Can I share my screen? I'm going to share my screen on the
okay.
Wikipedia. All right, here we go. So everyone can see who this is. Everyone can know who the guy is. This is him. This is our hero. This is our hero that we need. Remember this guy?
Uh huh.
This is the guy. He's the dude that got sabotaged. But yeah, this is he had really good stats, like secretly good stats in episode 1 Racer. And he was an unlockable. Look at all these unlockable. Oh wait, actually I'm not sharing that screen. But there are a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 23 unlockable racers in Star Wars
Whoa.
Episode 1 Racer. 23 characters you can drive as.
Yeah, they'd be
That's
selling those today.
yeah, right? But this was and it's 2 cheat code racers, so there's 25, which is
Wow.
cool. Yeah, yeah.
That's
That's
great.
really it's really cool. I mean, this game is it's really holds up if you ask me. I think it's really fun. And
Yeah.
they did a remake of it for Xbox, I believe. And you can play that.
Oh yeah, it came
But
out recently. It's like a remaster, just kind of
yeah,
like they didn't really improve anything. It just like maybe look like they're just higher resolution rendering
yeah, it's
probably.
got a higher resolution, but yeah, it was pretty cool. So yeah, sorry, I just needed everyone to know about Ben, our boy,
Yeah,
Ben
no,
Quadinaros.
I'm glad you did that. I have a
Mhm.
couple other uh,
Honorable mentions.
honorable mentions. I really enjoyed Excite Bike 64
Oh,
specifically.
that's a good one.
It had a really cool mode where you were like trying to get up this ever increasing steep mountain, which I
Hmm.
found really really fun. Not really a race, but I still had a lot of fun with it. And then I also relatedly played the EA game Supercross 2000, which was also a motorcycle racing game.
Oh
I had a
yeah.
neighbor who was really into racing motorcycles in real life, and so he had some motorcycle video games that we would play, and we had a lot of fun with those. I don't know, I just have fond memories of those. I don't know if they're actually good games or not, but I have fond memories of playing them
You
as a
know what?
kid.
If you told me you grew up in Tri-Cities, Washington, and you had a friend that was really into racing motorcycles, I'd believe you. I'd
Oh,
100%
that's
believe you.
true. That's
That's
100%
a
true.
100% a motorcycle place.
Yes. Yeah,
It.
absolutely. I just didn't know don't know if the game was any good.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's fine. You know what other game series that I really wanted to talk about on here, and I do this all the time, and I never remember what to write it down. But I was a huge fan of Dave Mira Freestyle BMX.
Ooh, that was good too. I had that one.
They had Sublime in the
That Sublime
soundtrack.
song that played
Yeah,
first every time.
early in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time. It was really good. It was really good. It
Yep.
was so great. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. But I just so here's the thing now that are you done with your honorable mentions? I don't
I'm
want to.
still scrolling through the great list of all the racing games on Wikipedia. I'm in the R's right now, but you can keep talking. If anything pops out to me, I'll bring it up.
Okay, because here's how this works now, Tyler. Is we don't vote on who wins because obviously we both love our lists. So
I
the
vote for your
listener.
list. Obviously, you vote
Oh
for my list.
yeah, obviously that's how we do it every day because friendship. That's how we do it.
Mhm.
So the way we're going to do this is if you want to send us an email and say who is list 1, you can do that. codexhistorypodcast@gmail.com. You can go into the Discord under our episodes like channel there. I think I'm going to put who won the episode when this comes out. And then we can go from there. I might make a poll or try to figure out how to do that. But, and then the next episode next week, we'll announce who won.
Okay.
Okay. Does that
Okay.
work? I want this
Yeah.
to be a contest. And what do you win? Pride and respect of your peers. But we're all
Mhm.
winners in the end. Also, next week, I am doing something special for is that the Halloween?
Mm, think we
Maybe
get
no.
another run at
Okay, we
Halloween.
got 26th. Yeah, so the 26th, 27th weekend, I am doing something special for Halloween. So, and I think we're gonna all like what we're doing because we're trying something new. And I'll give you a hint. I got a new camera for a reason. That's the hint. Okay. So we're gonna do that 2 weeks from now. Next week, we could probably do more Kirby, probably, right? Or we could try something new.
Yeah, well, who knows? We'll figure
Who
it out.
knows? We'll figure it out. But yeah, next week we'll announce who won though. So make sure you do that. Anything else on your list there, Tyler?
I did spend a decent amount of time with Need for Speed Shift, which was their attempt at basically making Forza
Oh,
but Need for Speed branding. I think they made a sequel to it, but I don't feel like that series went anywhere. The reason I played Need for Speed Shift was because I just won a contest on Twitter, or like a random drawing contest on Twitter, and they sent me a copy of it. So
wow. You didn't tell me
that
you're
was
a
in
winner.
college.
You did not
Yeah,
tell me you're a winner over here.
it took them so long to get it to me. I remember winning it, and it was probably like 3 months until I actually got the game. But I
I
did
had.
play it because free game in college was.
Do you have the
I was gonna
tangent?
play it.
You have
Yeah.
the tangent button ready? You have the tangent button ready?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, there was like a friend of my mom's and his job was he would just like sell things on eBay and also enter contests for a living. And he would enter just thousands and thousands and thousands of internet sweepstakes. So he would win every once in a while. This is
Sure.
a numbers game, right? It's just
Mm-hmm.
probability.
Mm-hmm.
And every time he would win, it would take him like a year to get the prizes. Like every
Yeah.
time. It's just like so slow
Because
always.
the contest is great for generating the interest that you want. Actually, sending out the prize is not really a high
Like
priority.
you're gonna
for
get
those
it.
things.
Yeah, it's just gonna take so long because it's a very low priority thing. Yeah, they already got what they
Yeah.
wanted, which is people like now it's like subscribe to my YouTube channel and enter the
Yeah.
contest or
Yeah.
whatever. So
They got what they want, which was the engagement. The actual sending of the prize is less important.
also that early 2000s, mid 2000s, like even like early 2010s career of like eBay salesperson. It's still
Yeah.
around now, but I don't know if that's really as much of a thing as it used to be.
Like just buying stuff and like flipping it on
Flipping
eBay.
stuff on eBay. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know if that's really as much. I had a garage sale at my house semi recently, and it was weird because we had the garage sale and we started like at like 9, and there were people here at like 8, and I was like, "What's happening?" And they're like, "Do you got any jewelry?" Like, no. You got any games? No. Got any books? I'm like, no. And they're like, okay, thanks. And they'd leave. And I'm like, oh, they're resellers. Like, that's how,
Yeah.
like, the resellers like float for the garage sales. So if you're ever like trying to find video games at garage sales, just know the resellers are buying them. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, because the hope is that you will put a game out that is worth thousands of dollars, but you'll be like, yeah, $3 is fine.
They're like, this person's selling the Clay Fighters 63 and a third
Yeah.
for 20 or for $10 when it's worth thousands. Yeah. Is it 63 and a third or 63 and a half?
It's 63 and a third.
63 and a third. I got it right the first time. Okay, cool. But
yeah.
So yeah, anyway, just let us know by next week who you think won the list. And you have to choose. You can't be like, you're both winners in my eyes. You can't do that. Okay. We're going to get cutthroat. We're trying to get more internet look-sees, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they always say, look-sees. So
yes, that's what
with
we're trying
that,
to get is look-sees.
Mm-hmm. Things you can do to support us. You can go to our codexpodcast.net. That has all of our links on there. Our Trello boards are on there. Our Twitters, which we both don't really use anymore. Our Instagram is there. Also, you can go join our Discord. There's a link to that on the website, and you use a contact form, or you can just send us a direct email. Like I said before, codexhistorypodcast@gmail.com. Tyler, it's that time. Do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
I do. Goodbye, everybody.